The voice of sharing Durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Welcome back to Irian ASEAN. You're with Grace at ASEAN Dailies, where we deliver news from Southeast Asia. However, this time there are a few breaking news and updates that I would love to share with you, our listeners. Well, first of all, there is a news and also updates from American Embassy as well as from Malaysian side regarding this Islamic State terror attack, a potential attack in KL. So the police are on alert for a potential terrorist attack after receiving the credible information after the arrest of the several militants from the Islamic State group last month. So basically, the police have increased these patrols in Jalan Allo especially, and also nearby areas in Kuala Lumpur. And also the U.S. Embassy, like I mentioned, and also the Smart Traveler, the Australian government travel advisory site also advised the U.S. and Australian citizens to avoid Jalan Allo and the surrounding areas today, especially Jalan Allo is very well known for travelers to come for one of the attraction point for food and also the sightseeing. So last month, 10 suspected ISIS members were arrested by the police in multiple raids across the country. And among them, there were 6 members of the country's security forces, the former interior designer, as well as a kindergarten teacher as well. So these activities ranged from raising funds for the movement to recruiting Malaysians and also planning to buy weapons for an attack in Malaysia. So authorities have identified about 39 Malaysians in Syria and Iraq. And Indonesia's counterterrorism chief Saud Usman Notion has warned that the ICE is working with smugglers to bring foreign fighters from Malaysia to Indonesia as well. So this potential terrorist attack that these militants arrived in Sumatra from Malaysia, and also they were then taken to Poso in central Sulawesi, which is believed to be the training ground for all these fighters as well. So there will be more updates after today regarding this potential attack in KL. So our listeners and also do share this information. Please stay safe and then please avoid traveling to KL area today. Well, let's move on to the next breaking news, which is about the Stampede killed more than 700 people in Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca, according to the CNN, the latest update. Well, at least about 717 people taking part in the Hajj pilgrimage have been killed in the stampede near the Islamic holy city of Mecca. And it is the deadliest incident to occur during this pilgrimage in 25 years. Of course, there were few incidents before as well due to the huge traffic to this specific area. And also King Salman has ordered an urgent review of this year's Hajj plan to improve the level of organization as well. And it is according to the second disaster to strike the Mecca in 2 weeks after the crane collapsed in the Grand Mosque, and that killed about 100 people there. And basically what happens during Hajj is that all those pilgrims travel to Mina, which is the large valley about 5 kilometers or 5 miles from Mecca, and they throw 7 stones and pillars called the Jamarat. front, so which represent the devil. So the pillars stand where Satan is believed to have tempted the prophet Abraham. So these were people from the Nigeria, Chad, and Senegal, among the other nationalities as well. And people were just climbing on top of the others in order to move to a safer place. And that's how some people unfortunately died from it as well. So just in addition to the all these Hajj pilgrims or pilgrimage, is that what rituals do all these people perform is that they take place in several stages over 5 days, including circling the Kaaba. It's a cube-like building in the center of the Mecca's Grand Mosque. And then also they, like I mentioned before, they throw 7 stones at the pillars. And after that, how many people go usually is, well, over 1 million pilgrims from outside Saudi Arabia and several hundred thousands from inside the kingdom as well. Then how about the authorities cope with all these pilgrims flooding in? Authorities deployed about 100,000 security personnel as well as 25,000 extra help and also the health workers this year, as well as 100,000 air-conditioned tents for temporary accommodation, because there'll be a lot of people staying there overnight, as well as to serve this purpose of visiting that particular site. Well, moving on to the next one is about Indonesia, and apparently a 6.6 earthquake hit of the Indonesia's and also Indonesian's Irian Java, that's called. This is considered a pretty strong earthquake, measuring about 6.6, and that struck off Indonesia's Irian Java. It was just very early this morning, and that at the depth of 50 miles, the U.S. Geographical Survey, it was according to them. And about this, I said previously, the indicator gave the location about the northwest of the Sorong, and this Irian Java comprises the western part of the island of Papua as well, which Indonesia shares with the nation of the Papua New Guinea, of course. So those are the updates that we have so far. If there are more, we'll upload and also update you as soon as possible. But stay tuned. We'll just take a very short break, and when we return, we'll be discussing more on the political side of Southeast Asia. ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Welcome back to Irian ASEAN. You are still with Grace at ASEAN Dailies, where we deliver news from Southeast Asia. So let's move on to the political side of Southeast Asia. First of all, the haze in Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia has not gone away completely yet. Of course, in Malaysia, it looks a bit better than ever before. However, still the haze effect is affecting especially younger generation as well as the children. And in Singapore, apparently today they will close schools as pollution worsens in that area in the nation. So slash and burned agriculture in neighboring Indonesia has basically a blanket to Singapore as a small nation in a choking haze for weeks. And also the air quality has worsened since this week, which is just a Wednesday night. And the kindergartens run by the Ministry of Education as well as the special education schools will also be closed today. In addition, today, Singapore Sports Hub, which includes the other outdoor stadium as well as the aquatic sports center, according to them, they said on its website that it would suspend all outdoor activities as well because of this hazy effect, and also the air pollution level is pretty worse than before. And of course, the fast food restaurants, including KFC, Pizza Hut, and McDonald's, have halted delivery services as the pollution worsens even before. So when we think about Singapore, they have taken actions towards this haze, slash air pollution. But when you think of the Malaysia approach to haze, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, it was announced that the public schools will be closed. However, where is the other approaches other than that in Malaysia? Still, there are people who are affected by haze and this air pollution from Indonesia, this slash unburned activities. And of course, Indonesia, there is also the activities coming up as saying that this is very, very bad and the government needs to do something about it. They don't see any reaction or responsible actions taken towards this haze effect in all those countries as well as including Malaysia and Singapore. So we hope to receive it and also to be able to deliver the positive messages to our listeners and also our friends regarding these issues. Well, let's move on to the next news, which is about China, which is about to host ASEAN defense ministers amid South China Sea tension. Well, we talk about the South China Sea tension. It's a long-term discussion and also conflict between China and also surrounding countries. But China mentioned on Thursday they will host the defense ministers from this ASEAN next month. Amid tension between some of its members and also China over disputed South China Sea. So October 15 to 16, the informal summit will take place in Beijing, and China has invited defense ministers of all 10 members. A Chinese defense ministry spokesman Wu Qian told the regular monthly news briefing, of course. And China has overlapping claims with Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei as well in the South China Sea, through which $5 trillion in a ship-borne trade passes every year. That's why China has been ambitiously and also forcefully marking their territory in the South China Sea. And also, in addition to that, China's increasingly assertive moves to suppress the claim have rattled its neighbors for sure, and also aroused the concern in the United States. And the U.S. expert mentioned this month that China appeared to be carrying out preparatory work for the third airstrip in a contested territory in the South China Sea as well. And China stepped up its creation of artificial island in South China Sea last year and is still going, and that has drawn a lot of strong criticism from Washington as well. So regarding this, after the meeting or informal summit in October, hope that we can receive some kind of I will say positive, but more of a collaborating ideas with China and also Southeast Asian countries as well. So let's move on to the next news, which is about Malaysia, where our nation arrested 6 people. And also they may have aided this Bangkok bomber, which happened a couple of months ago. So Malaysia has arrested 6 people, and they may have helped the bomber who killed 20 people at the Bangkok shrine that last month escaped from the Thailand. These suspects joined 2 people already in Malaysian detention who may have helped, as well as this Thai police mentioned the foreigner. They were unknown identity, and of course he fled across the southern Thailand border with Malaysia. And 4 of 6 people arrested last week were believed to be this minority Uyghur Muslims who come from China far western Xinjiang region. And also the Thai police have made 2 arrests over the October 17th blast, of course, and the Thailand's worst ever bombing that killed about 20 people, including 14 foreigners, 7 from Hong Kong and mainland China as well. So, according to the police, they said they believe they facilitated the movement of the yellow shirt men. However, they just still couldn't confirm since it is ongoing investigation. And also, this Malaysia's arrest are the latest pieces in the puzzle pointing towards this connection to these Uyghurs that Thai authorities have sought to play down. And of course, they are not terrorists because they have not announced what they want, and that's of course according to the Thai's investigation and also assumption. And thousands of these people have tried to flee China, saying that they face the persecution, which Beijing rejects apparently. And many use a trafficking network through Southeast Asia to Turkey, where they are largely welcome and also have ethnic and religious affinity as well. So suspect the belief to be perhaps Turkish, and the Thais living in Turkey. Maybe they are among these Thailand's wanted list for bombing. So more updates from this incident will be delivered very, very soon. So before we end our political side of Southeast Asia, let's go to just to talk about a little bit about Australia. Apparently, the nation is to strengthen bid for UN Rights Council seat, meaning that Australia should lift its game after the Prime Minister's election as well on human rights at home and also to abroad to strengthen the seat on the United Nations Human Rights Council. So Human Rights Council Watch and also Human Rights Law Center, they mentioned in the report that the government has announced its candidacy for Human Rights Council for 2018 and also until 2020. That's the duration for the Human Rights Council. And there were about a 36-page report, Australia at the Human Rights Council, ready for the leadership role and with a question mark, that examines the Australia's readiness to operate effectively as a Human Rights Council member if they were elected, of course. So the government should demonstrate more leadership on global human rights issues, and they also need to respond more constructively to concerns about its own human rights performances, and also to engage this more closely with non-governmental organizations as well. And this new Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, should seize this opportunity, of course, to fix Australia's images as also to approach to human rights at the UN, which until now has been uneven and also at times a bit inconsistent. So, for example, last year Australia used its seat on the UN Security Council to successfully leverage strong action on Syria and North Korea. However, although it actively supported some of the Human Rights Council work at the Security Council, the nation Australia has not shown the similar decisive leadership on human rights issues at the Human Rights Council itself. So Australia's observer status as a non-member of the council may contribute to the limited role that has played, but other observer countries have played a more active role in the responding to countries in crisis. So Australia really needs to buckle up and also need to be able to adapt this inconsistent and also at times even on principle. They need to change their approach to human rights abuses in neighboring countries for its own domestic and political advantage as well. So those are the few points, and then quite a lot of eyes are laying on this Australia's action towards this Human Rights Council to become a member for that. So hopefully we can receive the optimistic answers from that. But just to add on top of that is there are glaring inconsistencies between what Australia says in Geneva and also the contempt shown for the UN by some politicians. So basically to show that it's ready to take a seat on the council, Australian government needs to immediately lift its game and act to strengthen this human rights work at the UN. So that's the end of the ASEAN Dailies on the political side. Stay tuned. We still have the two other segments on economic and social culture after this short break. ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Welcome back to Irian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. You're with Grace at ASEAN Dailies. We deliver news from Southeast Asia. Now we are focusing on the economic side of Southeast Asia, but let's stay in our nation, Malaysia, where this is pretty exciting news. So basically from Malaysia to Milan, Italy, these local designers, they will have this showcase product and international market. And this is of course very good for creating a good image of our nation. So 18 Malaysian designers and companies will earn their chances to fly to the birthplace of the world's class fashion industry, of course, Milan, Italy, and this coming month, October. So the Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation, or we call it MATRADE, which aims to link Malaysians' businesses to international markets, will be connecting the local lifestyle and the fashion industry to the European market in conjunction with the Milan World Expo 2015. And this trip, a journey, also promote their creativity's work, ranging from the high-end fashion, the ready-to-wear, textile, footwear, and also handbag industry. So basically the mission to Milan is to aim at expanding Malaysia's exports of lifestyle and fashion products to Italy and also the European market at large. At the same time, the effort can also enhance Malaysia's visibility in the lifestyle sector among these affluent European buyers as well. So according to Abu Bakar, all 18 designers, Abu Bakar is, of course, from the Madrid Lifestyle Section Director. He said 18 designers will be given a platform to promote their products in designated exhibition areas, and they will also get to have their own showcase, their apparels on the runway as well. So for the period of January to July 2015, Malaysia's total exports of lifestyle, of course including fashion products, has inclined and grew by 6%, which is equivalent to 7.45 billion ringgit, of which 72.5 million ringgit and 1 billion ringgit were exports to Italy and Europe respectively. And this potential international department stores, influential buyers, as well as dignitaries will be invited to the event. Also, all the designers will have the chance to approach these potential buyers through the pre-arranged business meetings with Milan-based fashion house during this mission. So, among these designers and the companies who will be involved in this event are Bond Zalini, Hasri Wahid, Razwan Lazwiwil, Suraya Sharifuddin of Sakura Malaysia, Point Resources, a company, and Ingan Batik, and also Persatuan Baraka, Bumiputra Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, and also among others as well. So, make Malaysia proud, and also salute to all those Malaysian designers who are all expected as well as now at the mid of preparation to go to Milan. So all the best to all our Malaysian designers, and really we'll be very proud of you being a representative of Malaysia as well. Let's move on to the other side of the economic session, which is about Volkswagen. The emission scandal has sort of rocked Germany's business and also political establishment, and also analysts warned the crisis at the car maker could develop into the biggest threat to Europe's largest economy. And this very famous brand, Volkswagen, is the biggest of Germany's car makers and also one of the country's largest employers as well, perhaps with more than 270,000 jobs in the home country and also even more working for suppliers as well. But all of a sudden, Volkswagen has become a sort of a bigger downside risk for German economy than the Greek debt crisis. If this company sales were to plunge in North America in the coming months, this would not only have the impact on the company itself, but on the German economy as a whole as well. So Volkswagen sold nearly 600,000 cars in the US last year, and that's around 6% of 9.5 million global sales. And US Environmental Protection Agency said the company could face penalties of up to about 18 billion US dollars, or that's equivalent to 78.3 billion ringgit, more than its entire operating profit for last year. And there was no indication of the wrongdoing on the part of either company, over some analysis said the wider impact would be perhaps limited. So what does German government say? Well, they said yesterday the auto industry would remain an important pillar for the economic despite of having this deepening crisis surrounding Volkswagen. And it is a highly innovative and very successful industry for Germany, and with a lot of jobs for sure. But analysts wonder it is exactly this dependency on the automobile sector that could become a threat to the economic forecast to grow at 1.8% of this year. And Germany is already having to face up to the slowdown of Chinese economy as well. Last year, 2014, roughly about 775,000 people worked in they were employed in the German automobile sector, and this is nearly about 2% of the whole workforce. So that's why well, perhaps the scandal is not so terrific. The German economy has been hit at its core. And there are also voices, of course, however, they said the impact on the economy as a whole should not be exaggerated. So we'll see how it goes like with the very famous car brand company Volkswagen. It looks like it's not at a stable situation, but Germany looks like it's got its own strong trust on the company as well. So, even though there are quite a number of observers who see this as an irony or even a scandal, so the irony of all this is that the threat could now come from inside rather than come from outside. So these are all those just assumption, and hope that it doesn't really affect the whole German the strong economy as a whole. So that's it for our news on the economic side. Well, stay tuned for the next news on the social cultural part of Southeast Asia. ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Welcome back to Jaya ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. And you are with Grace at ASEAN Dailies, where we deliver news from Southeast Asia. Now let's move on to our last segment of News Dailies, which is on the social culture part of Southeast Asia. And from our nation, Malaysia, apparently the nation's oldest university will be working with the Scottish Life Sciences company on the pharmaceutical project. So it's a University of Malaya, and according to the report by Scottish tabloid Daily Record, the UM and also a Shire-based Avanti Cell have agreed to collaborate on the university industrial prototype development scheme. And this scheme, it will allow the partners to ethically harvest leftover tissues from surgical procedures, such as tumor removals, and also it's basically to create a cell bank. So these cells will be used by drug companies to test a new medicine as well, which is pretty quite a proud news that Malaysian University will be collaborating with one of the developed countries, and also this sounds quite promising. And so Anticell is optimistic of all this commercial value of the collaboration, citing the diverse Malaysian ethnic population, which includes Malay, Chinese, Indian, and of course other ethnicities as a draw as well. And this is pretty exciting initiatives, and which will potentially be of the great value to drug companies, and also all these new therapies to combat the major human diseases as well. So the cells from different donors will react in different ways, of course, and this will allow the drug companies to find out if new products will work not just on the Western or Caucasian population, but also will universally applicable as well. So these are something, of course, all human beings are looking for that is applicable for everyone. The cells will be stored deep frozen, and then they will build this resource into a bank, which can be made available worldwide for vital pharmaceutical research as well. So this Avanti Cell said partnership will be assisted by this wholly owned Malaysian subsidiary, and also this specialties is from the Avanti Cell Science will be using ethically sourced human cells to test its benefits and also safety of materials which make the whole this contact with the human body as well. So salute to as well as this Scottish pharmaceutical company that we look forward to hearing more news from this scientific area as well. So if you were to go to or visit or even leave a country in Southeast Asia, where would you choose? Will it still be Singapore, Thailand, or perhaps the very quiet place in Myanmar? So where it would be? Singapore is apparently named the best place still for expats to live and work as well. So people who want to go for sort of life-changing experience or even moving abroad. This is according to a new report that showed that expats who move to Singapore, and they are most likely to be the happiest with their decision, as the city-state topped the latest list of best places for expatriates and to live and work. So this is 8th edition of HSBC's Expat Survey Explorer Survey that explained that Singapore gave their newly adopted the home top marks for quality of life and also attractive salaries and opportunities for career development. So the majority, about 67% of these respondents from survey agreed that moving to Singapore improved the quality of life compared to their home country, and about 65% of the parents also saying that they've noticed that improvement in their children's health and well-being as well. And in addition to that, Singapore is also seen as a place of opportunity, with 79% of expats expressing confidence in their economy, and also 59% praising the city-state for its career development opportunities. So after Singapore, expats voted New Zealand and Sweden the top destinations. So all those entrepreneur expats, meanwhile, they may want to consider moving to Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, even London, which were cited as the best places for starting new business given their economic prosperity. So we will give a big round of applause to Singapore. But then again, coming from Malaysia, of course, where does Malaysia stand at this point? And in fact, because of the drop in ringgit, honestly, a lot of investors are leaving this country. Well, as much as it may sound very gloomy and dark at the moment, but Malaysian government and also the economic session in Malaysia will be able to buckle up and also boost up as soon as possible, and also be able to attract a lot of foreigners to our nation as well. So just before we end, let's just go through the list or top 10 countries for expats to live and work according to the Expat Explorer survey. So I'll go from the 10th to 1. So 10th is Switzerland, 9 is United Arab Emirates, 8th is Taiwan, 7th Australia, 6th Canada, 5th Germany, 4th Bahrain, and 3rd Sweden, 2nd New Zealand, and of course 1st is Singapore. So that's it for our news commentary today on Friday. Have a wonderful Friday, but stay tuned for our interview session at 9 o'clock.